I found this doctor today and she was talking about how she had patients going into renal failure from supplementing creatine. And she was talking about how the supplement industry is just as unregulated and out of control as the pharmaceutical industry. And this doesn't have to be something that you believe in, but we supplement so much. And most of the time, the question should be, what am I supplementing? Do I already have this in my diet? And then to realize that the best supplements in the world are completely free. Also, when we're in this high stress response, we deplete minerals and nutrients at a very fast rate. So, if I always feel like I'm fatigued, I'm tired, there's a deeper underlying root cause for all of that. Same thing with skin issues, and I talked about this last week. When we have problems with our skin, that's our immune system directly communicating with us because the skin is the first line of defense of immunity for the body. So a lot of us just feel like we're out of line with our life and we don't have this connection with ourselves, in that knowing that we're always in the right place no matter what the circumstance of our life may be, whether it's a tough season of life or an easy season of life. We lose this connection from our higher selves, from our knowing that this experience here is just so temporary. This little experience here, our soul is so big and eternal. Like, we live for an average of 80 years, and it really should be an average of 120 years. But we've been here before. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. These are the laws of physics. So when we die and our body goes to rigor mortis, this stiffness, this lack of energy contraction in the body, where does that energy go? It's the same thing as dementia. The body stays here, but where does the spirit of mind of that person go? It's not here, but their body is here. So I think it's so important to understand that we are just spiritual creatures living in little meat sacks. And also, a stiffness and rigidity is a cry from the body for help. It's a sign that we don't have enough of what we need. But a lot of that is just the mindset of, I'm in the right place at the right time. And if you don't feel like you're in the right place, which a lot of the times, I talked about this yesterday, we get into these spirals of thinking that we need to be a certain version of ourselves, and then we start acting from this place of what we think we need to be, and we end up deep, deep, deep in the spiral, and we feel stuck and contracted and like we don't know how to get out of it. The best way to get out of the spiral is to spend time with yourself, reconfigure your own energy, because the individual cell, just like the body's made of trillions of these cells, is nothing without the whole. And when you forget about who you are, we become too codependent on others to tell us who we are. The body only works because it has trillions of independent cells that are communicating with each other, but those cells are independent. They're on their own. They do their own thing. They have their own internal processes. They have their own ways of excretion and phagocytosis and genetic expression. They're all there in their own energy, in their own biochemistry, and they look out into the world to connect with others, once they feel safe and strong within themselves. So that's how you get out of the spiral, is you focus back on your own biochemistry. When we feel stuck, sense of being stuck is like being rigid. It's like being stiff. And if you're looking at rigidity and stiffness, you can see that as we get older, we get into this rigidity and stiffness. You go on the opposite end to looking at a baby. What's the difference between an elderly person and a baby? A baby is full of flexibility. It's full of collagen, brown fat, mitochondrial density. It is full of relaxation, and in the brainwave states. And what's cool about babies too is they spend a lot of time in REM sleep. Like, a newborn infant will spend up to 50% of the time they spend sleeping, they will spend in REM sleep. So as we get older, we lose the capacity to sleep, and that's also something I was thinking about too. what is the point of all this exercise, all this stuff that you're doing, if you're not able to sleep better and feel good in your own body? Let's say like you're working out and all you do is you continue to feel stiff. You need to take more supplements. And it's like maybe you just need to slow down and breathe and stretch and take some time to like think about, why do I feel like I'm always telling myself I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I need to do this. That is like a call from the ego, because in A Course in Miracles it always says love is content. Love is content in that it just is, and it's knowing and relaxing into the body, feeling into all of the muscles and the tendons. And this has also been such a journey for me, because I used to spend hours of the day working out when I first started, lifting weights on the Stairmaster, lots of cardio. And one day I was like, wait, I get similar effects of lifting weights in the gym and doing all this exercise through sitting in the sun. And wait, I also get the similar effects of this by eating more of a carnivore diet, prioritizing more amino and fatty acid dense foods. And I also can mimic the same thing through fasting and meditation. And maybe it doesn't have to be so hard. So I'm saying, what are you supplementing? You're supplementing your need to feel like you have to be doing something. All this does is it speeds the stress response up. It speeds our respiratory rate up. And at the end of the day, like, it's not efficient to be in this constant state of stress, and it's not efficient to spend a bunch of money on supplements, which could put you into electrolyte imbalances and metabolic imbalances, as is been proven. So anything in large quantities can be bad for us. Water, people have died from drinking too much water. From too much exercise, people have died from over exercising. Too much oxygen, even though we need oxygen. Even going to the tune of like people talking about, it's never made sense to me how people say, what do you think of an alkaline diet? The body has a pH balance between alkalinity and acidity. We can't be like striving to be alkaline all the time. It's like, why am I constantly being thwarted into this acidic state? High acidic levels is linked to all disease states, right? But you could be in a high alkaline state and be in disease as well. Like, there's a middle, there's a balance, and that balance, most of it is in knowing that we are higher spiritual creatures, and this is not the only life that we've been here before, and our energy is neither created nor destroyed, and we're always in the right place. And every single encounter that we have, we are just learning lessons. At Earth School, every single person that we meet, we are learning different aspects of ourselves. They say like the Creator just split itself off. It splintered itself off so that it could meet itself and learn about the pieces that it didn't know about itself. So every time we meet somebody, that's why somebody's different, and that's why sometimes you don't like someone you meet, but really it's just aspects of yourself that you're meeting that you don't like. Like, I hate that this person is selfish. I hate that they treated me this way. Well, what aspect of me is selfish and doesn't show up in its full capacity? It's always just like a learning experience. That's what they say. It's never about them. It's always about you. And I think that's much easier said than done, because some people really be acting a fool. But the last thing I want to talk about is that if you're not called crazy, then there's something wrong. Because to go back to that quote yesterday that I heard, again, one of my favorite quotes, it is no measure of health to be adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Our society is so upside down in these moments, like, and that can just, it's just simply, you can look at the state of health that we're in, and we are not in a healthy place. This is a reflection of where we are in our mindset and what type of actions that we're taking and with the environments that we surround ourselves with. And if you're not being called crazy, you're probably well adjusted to a sick society, and we just don't want that to happen. So let them call you crazy. Start going out into the sun naked and eating all the fat and the protein, that our body's made of. And, dissociating from things that put you in a state that brings you out of alignment with yourself, that makes you compromise your individuality and makes you feel like you need to put on a mask just to be in that certain situation. So, anyway, I just ate this small piece of garlic like 30 minutes ago because I saw this video about it, and it made me cry. It was like so spicy, so potent. But they say garlic is like one of the best probiotic sources that we have, and there's a bunch of health benefits to it. Of course, food is medicine. All the medicine, all the supplements, we wouldn't be able to create them lab, man-made, made with flaws, because man is always flawed. We wouldn't have the medications and the supplements without something to look at in nature to observe first, and then to imperfectly mimic that and try and modify it in the body. Now, the doctor I followed, she talked about how supplementing magnesium can really be helpful because it's like used for 500 different reactions in the body, and a lot of times it can help with many things like heart rate, blood pressure, things like that. Magnesium is like one of the first minerals to go, essentially. So I talked about that and magnesium being pretty safe, but we always have to ask the question, what is the root cause of why I feel like I'm a speed racer, And I want to focus on sleeping better at night. So how can I do that? Boosting my melatonin levels through the sunlight, through exercise, through meditation, through animal-based protein, tryptophan, an essential amino acid found in higher amounts of protein, breaks down into serotonin, it breaks down into melatonin. When we go in the sunlight, we break down tryptophan into serotonin and melatonin. So make sure that you're not only eating these whole foods that are designed as medications for the body in the proper quantities given as a gift from Mama Nature, but make sure that you're putting yourself in the environment to use these foods properly, because tryptophan can break down into a disease pathway. So it's not only important, the fuel is important, but the environment that the car is in is important as well, because if I take I can take the best fuel in the world, put it in my little vehicle, but if I try and drive into a lake, I'm not going to go far. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep an eye on everything, because it's a complex interplay of things that are happening. So anyway, I hope this video is valuable to you in some way. I love you so much, and I'll catch you later. Good luck.